Okay, let's talk about that one thing that you're going to need if you want to be an artist. The thing that there is no escape from, no exceptions, the thing that you're just going to have to have. And before I get into that, I want to kind of break what we're talking about into two different groups of people. Okay, there's I want to be an artist, kind of end of sentence, and there's I want to be an artist, comma, and I want it to be my full-time job that's paying me. If it's not going to be my full-time job, that's my goal to get there as fast as possible. Like, this is my main thing. I'm going to be like an artist for my career. So those are the two categories. So if you want to be an artist, but you aren't committed to it being your full-time thing, if you're like, I am an artist, I do art, like that is who I am, but also like I'm fine to have this other job to pay for my life, then you really just need hustle, determination, the resources to, participate in whatever your art form is, right? Kind of like standard things. But then if we're adding this other layer on it, we're saying, no, 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 no. It's not going to be, I'm a dentist and I also do my art. It's going to be, I need to be an artist. That's what I'm going for. Then I think there is one main thing every single artist really, really needs. And this is not my piece of advice that I thought of on my own. It's something that I heard early on when I was making these decisions for myself. And it kind of felt really right at the time. And it feels just as right today, over 10 years later, as I've just been diving into art for all these years. And that is, you need a voice in the back of your head that never, ever, ever, ever shuts up. And all it says is, I need to do art full time. I need to pursue an artistic life. There is no other option for me. I will 100% die on my deathbed, unhappy and regretful if I don't do this. That I know for sure. And that voice can't kind of just be there some of the time, or depending on how you feel, it goes back and forth. That voice needs to be there all the time, screaming at you, affecting decisions you make already. Like, you're already looking up art that you love. You're already, maybe you're at this point just a critic and you have watched or absorbed or read all of the art that you love, and you could talk for hours about it. And already gravitate towards seeking it out, and no matter what's happening, you're kind of thinking about it, and the voice just feels on a gut level like one of the most important things in your life that you have to take care of. I think the first time I heard this was in a story. I'm not exactly sure, but I think it was from Jerry Seinfeld. So I'm going to tell this story, but don't hold me to it being exactly true. And the story goes like, there was like a young comedian who comes up to Seinfeld and he goes like, I want to be a comedian. Like, is there any advice I should follow? And then Seinfeld says, don't become a comedian, you'll never make it, and he walks away. And then the friend goes like, hey, why did you tell that to that young comedian? And then Seinfeld goes, because if you're a comedian, no one, including Jerry Seinfeld, telling you you're not going to be one is going to stop you from being a comedian. If you're a comedian, you're going to search this out. You're going to do stand up. There's just simply no stopping you. It will call inside you and it will say, I have to go do this. So Seinfeld is like, I just kind of gave him the greatest incentive ever to go become a stand up, or he just won't do it and it never mattered. And now I wouldn't have handled things that way. I don't think I wouldn't like be like, I'm going to use this time. Again, I don't remember if it was Seinfeld, but I remember he was involved in the story, I think. And I don't think I would have like just used my opportunity to like crush someone. But I still think that that kind of like grain of truth, like the little seed in that story, is really, really, really accurate. And that is sad because a lot of people, there's a bottleneck of people that get obsessed with becoming an artist, and they think that to themselves their whole lives. I mean, you probably know a couple of people. I know a couple of people who, when you talk to them and they really are talking about their goals and dreams and ambitions, all they ever talk about is art. They're like, I've hated every job I ever had. Like, what I really want to do is to write science fiction, and I'm just waiting for this job to end or this to come through, and then I'm going to do science fiction. Or I had a friend once who was like, I just know I could have the best podcast ever. Like, I'm going to do it. And he had released a couple episodes like a few years ago because they didn't immediately do well, and he hadn't done any podcasting or any type of art in like the last 4 years. So I guess not only does that voice need to be constantly telling you, I need to become an artist, it actually needs to be pushing you enough into action. and into constant action, because there's a couple things that have to happen if we're going to be an artist, right? First is that just like any other career or hobby or skill, you're going to need to spend a bunch of time in the skill building phase, right? Your first time thinking, I'm going to draw something, I'm going to tell a joke, you're going to be mediocre at best. And if you're mediocre, that means you're probably amazing soon. And so you're already going to have to pursue this journey where you're learning from scratch, where you're really going, okay, I'm learning how to draw, I'm researching what I need to improve, I'm doing 1,000 open mics over and over again, I'm practicing for an hour a day. So you're already going to have to be doing all of that skill building. But then you have another tricky part, which is that you're not going to be paid for your early hours. It's very rare. Think of like getting good at drawing. What job is there where they're going to be like, your job where we're paying you is to sit here and learn how to draw? You're not good at drawing yet, but don't worry about it. Like, we're just going to pay you until you are good at it, right? Like a lot of jobs you can get in the intro level, even though, yes, you might have to have some skills, they're going to train you and teach you how to do a pretty good job, just as part of that job, because less people want to do it. So the company knows they have to pay people to train people to eventually do that job. With art, millions and millions and millions of people want to do this, so there just aren't positions where they're going to pay you at the very beginning before you have your skills. So you're going to have that voice so much in your head so intensely that it gets you through all of the skill building that's also unpaid. And then you're going to get right into rejection central, because that's just the nature of art. So when you're a very beginner and you're trying to get your very, very first things in any art form, you're just going to be dealing with a ton of rejection because of, again, the competition, and everyone wants to be doing these jobs. But also with art, unless you become truly an exceptionally popular a celebrity or artist, like less than the top 1% of very successful artists, like unless you are a household name, basically, you're never going to stop dealing with that amount of rejection at all of your jobs. Every single artist friend I know right now is dealing with a ton of rejection. Unless someone just got something amazing, they're probably dealing with a ton of rejection. And rejection is hard to deal with, right? You don't want to hear it. It's very discouraging. You never know when your next chance is going to come. Like for me personally, I've probably been in a short list for maybe 20 to 30 different TV shows to be on the staff to write. And I've never gotten them. I'm not a paid TV writer. I never have been, but I spent years getting good at writing scripts. I spent additional years networking to get my face in front of people that could make TV room hiring decisions. And then I spent years where every month or every other month I was up for a different TV show. You're getting farther along in interviews, you're sending in multiple scripts, and nothing. And that's just kind of the name of the game. I have gotten some other really cool things. You never really know what's going to come to you. And so you just aren't going to be able to progress this kind of mountain of rejection and constantly reinventing yourself and constantly standing up unless that voice inside you is so, so strong. Or you're just some random person who doesn't care at all about rejection. It's like, oh, being told I'm nothing or just being ghosted by the chance that would have changed my life, that has no effect on me. I'm fine to continue. If you're that person, you maybe don't need this, but I've never met anyone who's that person. We usually take rejection as a sting, especially when it's, your entire identity and it's like all you care about. That usually stings when you're rejected. So if you watched this and right now you're like, absolutely 100% that's me, I've had that voice for a long time, or it's come around recently and I'm super obsessed and like, yes, I'm glad this is the main thing I need to have, then that's great. And if you're like, oh, absolutely not, I don't want to be dealing with a bunch of rejection, I am okay having a different job, then that's also great. But yeah, but if you're in that middle group, you're probably going to have to do some thinking. And so I think if you even have like an inkling of the voice, if you have any interest, if you're watching this video, you probably have some interest in becoming an artist, unless you're one of my friends and family. Thank you for watching. So what I would say to you, if you're not sure about your internal voice yet, but you do have an interest in art, is push yourself to do something. Push yourself to learn about art, to make the art that you're interested in, to take that first step. Push yourself to get to the point where you're doing it, and then you're going to know a little bit faster, okay, is my voice still here? Do I not care? And I wasn't super confident in my skills. I wasn't sure that I would be able to create things I was proud of. But once I started doing it, it like that didn't even like matter. I mean, obviously we're egotistical, we're obsessed with ourselves. I still cared about like, was I going to be good? But I was just enjoying the process so much of meeting people that were doing the same thing as me. I felt like I was connected to a community of people that like I had always been a part of but had never met before. And now I was like in a group of people that like I just really felt like they all understand me for like the first time ever. I was like, oh yes, this is absolutely it. I've got to go. I'd say my biggest warning, don't be someone who wants to do art and always kind of thinks about it, but then just never does. Don't be that person that dreams about their science fiction novel their entire life for 40 years and never writes it. If that's your dream, if you're going to die on your deathbed and be unhappy unless you do art, then you're going to have to do the art while you're alive. So you should start as soon as possible. I hope that you do. And if you watched this and you do art, drop me a link. I want to see what you make. I want to check it out. All right. Hope you have a great day. Bye.